All right. The first thing you are going to have to know that slope-intercept form means y equals mx plus b. Standard form means that x and y are on the same side, but there's a catch. A has to be a whole number. Now, what does that mean to you, that A is a whole number? You've got to remember definitions of a whole number. What's whole number?
It's not a fraction.
No fraction, no decimal, and no negative. Yeah, it's not an integer. So then point slope is when you take your formula for the slope, m equals y minus your y over your x minus x, and you're actually going to put the x squared or the x sub 2 minus x sub 1 with the m, like you were going to solve it. So point slope works out well if you're having to put answers in standard form. And most of your answers are going to have to be on your assignment, has to be in standard form. So if you start with your slope and your point, then it's pretty easy to put the x and the y on the same side, move all of your constants to the other side. And so you don't have to worry about solving it for b and putting it in y equals mx plus b form and then moving it to standard form. So it's actually faster, okay? So to find the slope, m equals, and you can put, so you don't get confused, where these are. Negative 2 minus 5 over 3 minus a negative 2. And some of you are going to be faster just doing it in your head. Some of you are going to want to type that into the calculator. That's fine. You can do it top, bottom, and then divide, or you can type it all in the calculator at one time. Totally up to you. Pick the fastest method. The length, well, that's distance. So what is your formula for distance? The square root of the x sub 2 minus your x sub 1 quantity squared added to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 quantity squared. So the length of the line segment means that you want to, I skipped 2. Find the slope. I need to solve for y to find the slope. Y equals negative 3x plus 12 divided by a negative 7. The slope is the number in front of the x simplified with no x. The y-intercept is this number as a point. Okay, so this question is just asking for slope, so m equals 3/7. When you're going back and you're doing your corrections, make sure you did not put an x with the slope and that you put the y-intercept as a point. Okay, so now for the distance. The distance is your x minus x, so 4 minus a negative 3, quantity squared, plus negative 2 minus a negative 1 quantity squared. When you're putting this into the calculator, I would do it without the square root first because I have told you to put it in simplest radical form, and we don't know if that's going to give us a problem or not. Plus 1 quantity squared. That's a square, and that's supposed to be a plus. So I have 58. And you're going to look for simplest radical form. So we're going to program, go down to radical 2. Did anybody use this on the ACT when you took the ACT? No? They didn't ask you for simplest radical form? So we're done. It's in simplest radical form. Find the equation of the line through the slope and point. Again, we're going to use that m equal y minus y over x minus x. So negative 3 over 2 equals y minus the y value, x minus the x value. This is a fraction equal to a fraction. That's called a proportion. So I'm going to cross multiply. Negative 3x plus 12 equals 2y plus 10. Now, Standard form means x and y are on the same side. So I'm going to subtract the 2y, and I'm going to subtract the 12. Now, I have x and y on the same side, but the definition of standard form was a whole number, meaning it can't be this negative. So I'm going to divide everything by the negative. And there's my equation. Okay, the thing is you should be at this point looking for just the answers. This should have already been done. Okay, and I am recording it, so you can go back if I'm going too fast and just stop the recording. Okay, did you have a question?
Yeah. On number 3, why did you put 4 first? Because isn't it supposed to be at the second?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I wanted to see if somebody had an issue with that. These subscripts are just telling that there are two different ones. These subscripts are saying that there are two different ones. So I did use this one first and subtracted this one instead of the other way. You should have still gotten the same answer regardless of which way you did it.
So it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. Those are just saying two different ones.
It's literally just like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So in this case, it says put it in slope-intercept form. I have 2 points. The fastest way for me is to use my calculator. So how do I put 2 points in the calculator? Stat edit. Now, if you're in an Algebra 1 class, your teacher's going to want you to do this by hand. And so you're going to have to use your slope formula, m equal y minus y over x minus x, find the slope, and then put it back in. That you guys have been there, done that. So I put my x's in list 1, put my y's in list 2 in the same order. And then where do I go? Stat, calc, and we want the linear regression. And I don't need to store this one. I just calculate it. Now I've got these crazy decimals. 0.3 repeating is a decimal that you should know that the fraction is what? Yeah, it's 1/3, so it's 4/3. Slope-intercept form means solve for y. Now, what did you do for the negative 0.16 repeating? How did you figure out that one? Math, fraction, enter. Was it 0.6 repeating? 0.16. And then a lot of those. X math fraction. X math fraction, enter. And it's not converting it. Stat, calc. Negative 0.1. Negative 0.16, repeating math, fraction, integer. You probably want to turn that down. Okay, so if that doesn't convert for you, how do you get that negative 0.16 repeating as a fraction? What did y'all do? Okay, so yeah, if the calculator won't convert it for you, you're going to have to go back and find the slope, which is the y minus the y over the x minus the x. And it's in slope-intercept form. Okay? Find the equation of the line that is parallel to this one. Well, my slope is a negative 5/2. I just solved for y without writing down everything else. I subtracted the 5x and divided by the 2. The slope is the number in front of it. But I want it parallel. Parallel lines have the same slope and contains the point. So again, my m equals y minus y over x minus x, and cross multiply. Negative 5x minus 10 equals 2y plus 8. I need it in standard form, so x and y on the same side. The negative 5x minus the 2y equals, add 10. I cannot have the negative, so I'm going to divide by a negative to everything.